Okay, so what if the blueprint for a totally new, fairer economy wasn't cooked up in some university lab or a fancy boardroom? What if it was actually forged from, well, from some really profound personal trauma? Today, we're diving into a plan that's pretty out there. It's this vision to completely rewire capitalism, and it connects surviving things like trafficking and abuse directly to a multi-trillion-dollar social enterprise. It's a wild story. And this quote right here, this is pretty much the key to understanding the whole Love Transcends enterprise. I didn't inherit a mission. I survived one. I mean, that tells you everything, right? This isn't some project born out of privilege. It's born from some serious, serious adversity. And that origin story, it's not just background noise. It's the engine driving every single one of its pretty massive goals. So, to really get a grip on this whole vision, we've got to start with the founder, John Jasper Strongman. Because his life story, it's not just some footnote. It's literally the foundation for his entire economic model. I mean, his journey is just, it's one of immense hardship. We're talking about surviving institutional abuse, human trafficking, and on top of that, living with a misdiagnosis for almost 30 years. That kind of history, combined with seeing his adoptive father's humanitarian work at the World Bank, well, that's what sparked this whole idea. It became the catalyst for him to just design a whole new system from scratch.
And here's the thing to really lock in on. This isn't just another tech startup trying to disrupt something. It's framed as this deeply personal crusade. It's about building all the systems of support, dignity, and economic justice that he just never had. It's literally about turning personal pain into a blueprint for a public utility.
Okay, so how does a mission like that actually become a practical solution? Well, Strongman's answer isn't just one app or a simple charity. Nope, it's this whole ecosystem he calls the chain of love. And the whole point is to tackle all these interconnected social problems in a way that can sustain itself. And here's what that chain of love actually looks like. You can see how each piece is meant to support the others. You've got LT Care for mental health and addiction recovery, then LT Thrifty and LT Housing for economic stability and a safe place to live. And the thing powering it all, the engine underneath, that's the Miracle Network. The whole thing is designed to be this self-contained, closed loop for social impact. So, the big question, right? How in the world do you fund all of this? Well, that brings us to the tech at the very heart of the plan. The Miracle Network. It's a social app, but with a very, very different economic model. The core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's also kind of revolutionary. It's that your daily digital stuff, things you're already doing, like sending a text message, that stuff has real, actual value. And the whole point of the Miracle Network is to make sure that you, the user, get to capture that value instead of the platform. And the process itself is meant to be super straightforward. Step 1, you create an account. Step 2, you just send messages like you always do. But by doing that, you're mining something called Miracle Coin. Then you can take that Miracle Coin and convert it into USDC. Now, USDC is a stable coin, which just means it's a cryptocurrency that's always pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar. So 1 USDC is always worth $1. And then you can just withdraw it. It's all about turning a simple, everyday action into a real financial asset. And the whole user experience is designed to make this totally seamless. The idea is you'd have this dashboard showing your earnings in real time, making it super clear how much value you've actually generated. And right there, you'd have simple options to either cash out or maybe spend it inside the ecosystem. But look, this vision goes way beyond just getting paid for messages. That's just the start. The ultimate goal is to completely restructure the entire multi-trillion-dollar advertising industry. Yeah, you heard that right. This is all done through a nonprofit called the Love Transcends Sponsorship and Advertisement Nonprofit, or LTSNANP for short. And honestly, this is where the plan goes from ambitious to just truly radical. It's proposing a complete paradigm shift, aiming to flip the entire advertising industry on its head. So let's just break this down. On the one hand, you have the model we're all living in right now, right? Sometimes it's called surveillance capitalism. Basically, your data is the product, and it's sold to advertisers. But on the other hand, in the proposed model, your attention becomes the asset, and you get compensated for it. So instead of platforms selling you, corporations would sponsor you directly. The value flows back to the citizens, not just the corporations. So the argument is that this creates a kind of a win-win-win scenario. Citizens, they get financial empowerment. Corporations,
they get a more ethical and probably more effective way to reach an audience that's actually engaged. And society as a whole? Well, it benefits from a much fairer distribution of all the wealth being generated in our digital world.
And that brings us to the sheer scale of this vision. I mean, when you start looking at the financial numbers laid out in the business plan, they are, and I'm not exaggerating here, truly staggering. First up, just the social app, the Miracle Network. The standalone projected valuation for just that one piece of the puzzle is $3 billion.
But that's just the app. The projected annual revenue goal for that nonprofit advertising model we just talked about, $1.5 trillion. The ambition here is nothing less than redirecting a massive chunk of the entire U.S. ad market away from big tech and putting it directly into the pockets of citizens. And finally, what's the ultimate goal of all of this? The plan aims to provide $1 million in financial aid to every single eligible citizen. And this isn't just some kind of universal basic income. The plan is explicit. The goal is to fundamentally reset the economy. So it all comes down to this, really. Is this a practical roadmap for a fairer world, one that's built from the unique insights that can only come from lived trauma? Or is it a beautiful but maybe unreachable techno-utopian dream? The materials definitely make a case for a whole new way of doing things, born from an absolutely incredible story of survival. And that's the question we'll leave you to think about.